Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Australian Asian Report, and we'll be looking at the ASX, and we'll look at China and Hang Seng and the Nifty and so on. And with this market here, we know that the resources are driving this market higher. However, we have seen the banks move higher too, and we'll have a bit of a look at those. Not convinced quite just yet that they're finished. So basically, what we've been looking at in the bulk of the trend is the materials resources to the upside and banks to the downside. So let's have a look at this wave count first with the indices, and then we can have a look at some of the driving sort of factors. So with this market here, I can see that this particular trend to the upside is not finished. As I may have mentioned before, when we're looking at a trend in 5 waves here, then we know that the strongest normally out of the impulse waves, which is wave 1, wave 3 and wave 5 here, with stocks, mostly it's the third wave here that's the longest and the strongest. It can be the first, and in commodities it can be the fifth quite a few times as well. So, but in this trend here of the 5 waves here of the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 5 here, probably taking us up to 6-5, the medium level up here. Then, as I probably pointed out before, that between 2 and wave 3 here. Wave 3, by the way, it just generally normally sits on top of a previous high, and it can also, if you're working with a large level, it can also be at the level here as well. But in this case, I'll just put it, it's a bit tricky in here because the 6,000, I know the 6,200 is important. It's important in terms of geometry because it's 62. So when you think of 62 and we're using the Fibonacci as a price ratio, then the 62 becomes the 61.8% in terms of the golden mean or the golden ratio. So it's always a good little number to work with, and it would have been a number that we were looking for over here to the upside as well. So in this case, the 62 is important. The 63 really is important as well. We see that 1 is the strongest number in the market, then 5, then 8, and then 3. So support here would get us up into this level, but I kind of know that because we're sitting on 8 here, then the market's going to be pulled up to the 5 here. So we can expect it up here in this area here. So at this stage here, so from wave 2 to wave 3 is what we're looking at. And it's a little bit choppy in this little area here. So I've got sort of 2 counts there. They're both bullish, but both counts. So look, that's sort of where we are with that. Perhaps I'll just come back into this count in a moment. While we're on the daily chart, we can have a look at, China's is a bit of a biggie, the A50 here. I should really look at the Shenzhen and the Shanghai as well, actually, in the A-class stocks, but I've just sort of focused on this, so I might do that today and get back to you on that. But as far as this goes here, there's 2 situations here for this, and obviously from wave 3 here, we can have an A and a B and a C wave finished here now on this low here. So from wave 4 to wave 5, I know it's small, but extensions in wave 3, so wave 1 and wave 5 will be roughly the same. So it's possible that this can be an A and a B and a C here and come down for one more shot here. Or if this is, I'll just blank this out a little bit here as the alternative counts, what we do in the video here. So it's possible this can be a wave 4 and we'll get a pullback here. However, once there's 5 waves up here, whatever it is here, wave C of wave 4, or wave 1 here and then wave 2 back, it'll be 5 waves here. So what we're going to see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then we're going to see it pull back, here. So it's either going to come further down here or it's going to move up here, and we'll you'll know because it will start taking out these highs here of this first move that's done to the upside here. So this pattern here. So we're still working through this. I've probably mentioned this before, but yeah, it's just about timing, really. So yeah, we'll play that out. The Nikkei. Now, there's a couple of markets like this. The Nifty is like this as well. And the thing about this is that I suppose it's possible. Yeah, it's just doesn't count very well. I mean, I'd like to count it bullish moving to the upside. I can still see it's going to move up here. This being corrective here. This is the 50 and the 61.8% retracement level in this box here. We wouldn't turn bearish in this market because this is group 1 here, so major level 20 here, and then we have, move that across a little bit, major level, and then minor level 1, 2, and 3, which make up group 1, and then the medium level here. So if we get support on this level here, 23, well then I'll turn it bullish and move up there, and then I'm not sure what I'll do or say about this particular pattern here, but this is certainly moving up like a C wave and not like a third wave to the upside here. Third wave would be much stronger here. So this does cause a little bit of a problem. And it hasn't finished in 5 waves here. So logically, you'd count it as an A and a B and a C wave up into this space here, 61.8%, or the 23 here, and then fail from that point there. We wouldn't turn bearish unless the 22 became the retested resistance. This is the backbone of group 1 here, and I use it a lot to call in short trades to the downside. Yeah, and also the Indian Nifty50 here. It's got the same. This is a 2-hour chart. Sorry, not the daily chart, but it's the same sort of thing. It's got this 3-wave structure here, which I really need to call it wave B here, and unless there's been a mistake, and I can put this wave A over here, and we've got 1 and 2 here, and 3 here, and 4 here, and 5 here, but it doesn't really work very well because this has got a high here, wave 4 overlaps wave 1, which is not a biggie, but you know, it just doesn't sit right. So we still have to look at this here. I have counted it though in a bullish pattern to the upside in terms of 1 and 2 here, 5 waves here for 1, back for 2, up for 1, and back for 2, and the whole 3rd wave in here, the 4th, and so I can count it as a structure that's not finished, but I know that I also can count it as a wave C of B here as well. So I'm not quite sure what to do with this one just yet, but we're not seeing any impulse waves to the downside, and we'll take out this move here is corrective because we've got 3 waves in here to make it an A wave, then we've got the B wave in here, and then we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So I know this is corrective here, so we will be taking out the top, so we can be looking at, if I can just move this up to here, the 10-8. We know 8 is the 3rd strongest number, and we know it's a profit taking number, so we know that we're going to see problems in that area there on this here. So yeah, I mean, this 8 is more important than this 11 here in this instance, and we'll see that over in due course in time. So yeah, just be mindful of that if you're in this market. And the Hang Seng as well, the Hong Kong market. So this hasn't finished off very nicely as well, very well here in a couple of ways. The A wave is fine. The A, the B, and the C here is beautiful. I can see 5 waves in here, and then the move down through here hasn't really finished in a nice 5-wave pattern here. So there may be something else going on here, so we need to be mindful. But at the same time, you know, this move up through here counts better as 3 waves rather than rather than an impulse wave of wave 1 and 2 here. And even as a wave 2, this is rather complicated because wave 2s are normally quick and simple, and this is complex. This is more like a an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave coming in here, and we would need to look at this as a 5-wave structure moving up here. But at the same time, we can see that it's taking out tops here. So we really also, because I can't figure out the count, it's also really important to take the trades here as well. So we're above the level. We've had our, normally what happens is that when you've got a level here, say, and the market comes down, it's like a ball bouncing. The first bounce goes the highest, then the second bounce that comes down, then that goes lower, and then it kind of diminishes, until it drops through and does a retest and then moves through. So it's very sort of unusual to see the first bounce come down to here, and then the second bounce come higher than the first bounce here. Like it hasn't done it yet here, but it's doing it. So that means that there's something positive going on here. So just because I don't understand the wave count, it's still important to take the signal to the upside, especially why we can see the other markets moving to the upside as well. But be mindful, you wouldn't want to overtrade, because we know that it can come to here and have some other type of correction in here as well. So a more complicated correction where we would have to have the A wave to here, the B wave to here, a C wave to here, and a D wave to here. So not quite sure about this just yet. So, but certainly taking the signals is what it's all about. So we'll go back to the Australian market now, and with this one here, let's just move into some of the counts here. So we can be looking up at 6.5 here as just a bit of a rough guide stick at this stage, okay? And that is also a medium level up here. And so looking at this as wave 1 and 2 here, then 1 and 2 here, and then I don't think this is all finished here as for wave 3 and 4 and 5 here. Now, these dotted dash lines through here, these are the old highs over here. So it's highly likely that we can see some type of correction going to unfold in this space here. We can see, with trends, they have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and we can see that this is a strong part in here, so it's the middle, and this is a bit of an ending pattern in here. So it's getting choppy and, it's churning here. So it's likely that, if we're going to see a correction, we're going to see it from this number here, the 6.2. These are the old highs here in this space here. There's also, I do have a count that would also put this wave here and this wave in here and this wave here and this wave here. Not that it's going to make a big difference at this stage, and we will look at this particular count too, but let's just go to, I think I might have that on the 2-hour chart. Yeah, on the 2-hour chart here. It's just a count that I can't ignore and just sort of throw out at this particular stage. So we just need to be mindful of that. But at this stage here, we're still looking to the long side. We just know that we can darken this one here because it's a minor level, and this one here, minor level, and then we can borrow this one in here, copy this, and into the midpoint. This is the most important number here at the moment. The 50 in here is the halfway, obviously, between 100 and 200. So we need to be a little bit mindful of that. But these dashes that are here, so there's a lot of resistance going on here, okay? So we need to be a bit mindful of that situation. So yeah, this is a bit of an alternative count here. The 1-hour chart for this. Okay, so we're also going to have a look at the tick chart as well, and the tick chart is going to be slightly different in this particular count as well. So we're going to have to look at strategy with this. You may be long already, and that's the right thing to do. We're basically at 6,100, so the 1 is the strongest number, and it's a beautiful correction here with all of this. So we can move higher, and we'll look at the tick chart. So in this one here, you just need to pay attention. We've got wave 1 and 2 here, and then I've got this as 1 and 2 here, and this is a bit dodgy in here. So I need to probably look at this all as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the third, the fourth wave here, and a fifth wave taking this top out here. And then we'll make wave 3, then wave 4 and wave 5 up to this space. So that's what I'm sort of looking at here. Yeah, so the count on the tick chart is slightly different within all of this here. Not that it makes a big difference at this stage, because we're still going to use strategy at this point. So in this case here, I've got this as I had it last time as wave 4 here. So wave 1 here, an A and a B and a C wave into here. And then I've also changed this a little bit here as well. So in this case, I'm looking at 1 and 2 in here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the third wave. This is the fourth wave here, and then looking up for the fifth wave. So I don't have the answer. I don't have the correct answer for it yet. I just need to probably, sometimes when you just contemplate things and look at it, and you're not in a hurry and you've got time to digest it and so on, that makes it a little bit easier. But when you've got so much to do, it makes it a little bit difficult, because you've got to get on to the next task. But that said, the important thing here is that we don't need this. So that high here becomes important. And the reason, I mean, it's a high is important, but one of the things here, so let's, one of the important things here is that we're looking now at, this is 6,100, then we've got subgroup 1, which is 10, 20 and 30, 1, 2 and 3 here. We know that if we get tested support on top of this mark, on top of this number here, top of the 30, number 3, anywhere you see 3, any 3, then support on 3 separates the orders being stacked up on the short side to the closest largest number, in this case the 100. And what happens, if there's a market depth, which you won't see it in the CFDs, but in the futures market you will, you'll see people start thinking of 5 here, the 6-1, which is the midpoint. Same as here, we had the little test in market, came up here, had a little correction here, then it had its high here. You could have gone into a high here as well, and you trade to the next number. You get out, you wait for the setup on the 5, and you go from that point. But obviously this is all part of this. So once again, you can take that high out here. You could have also taken this little high out here as well. It's a little bit of a risk. This is also at risk in terms of this being down here, as if all this count was wrong here on the downside, we can look at this as 5 waves here, and then an A wave, a B wave and a C wave here. And then we move down in wave 1 and wave 2 here, and then we move down here in wave 3 here. Well, I can't get that there, but can move down from here. So this top here is really quite important here if you're going to go long. And if you're going to go long this time, then we know that we would end up being higher up into group 2. So group 2 is at 80 and 65 in there, and also of course 72 here, which needs to be adjusted, roughly in there anyway, you get the idea. So you'll see this wave 5 correction play out in this space here. So anyway, the trade today, if Friday closes strong, then we can expect Monday to be up. That's the bullish weekly cycle, okay? If this moves down today in line with the banks, then we're going to see a bigger correction at this 6-1 here, and the target would be the 7-2 down here. Okay, and normally I know that it's bearish if the 2 here, in the pivot within group 1, the number 2 here, if that becomes the retested resistance, then you can short from that point. Okay, don't overdo it, but then just sort of build in. Yeah, just want to have a look at the banks. I know all the banks are doing different things, but we'll start with the biggest, that's CommBank, and it's doing something different from the other banks. And the count that we had on this bank here was that, well, wave 4 looking down for wave 5, so we had 1 and 2 and 3. The A wave, the B wave, the C wave here in 5 waves, and then we're looking for 1 and 2, and obviously some news came out or whatever. It was wave 3 here, so we'll see wave 4 here. So if I just go to the tick chart for this, so we've got wave 3 here, wave 4 would pull back to the 38.2% retracement level, 72 close. It's pretty good there, enough. I mean, we could pull it apart and have a look at it. So we can put, it may get more complicated, so you have to keep stops above 72 if you want to get down to, borrow that, or 71 is important, and 72 here. I'll just put that in a lighter shade here. Okay, so yeah, so we're still 1 wave short here to the downside for CommBank here. Now it could come down further and extend further down all the rest of it, but we'd have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So you could, I can't draw on the side of the ticket, we can expect the market to move up here, but at the same time, and you can buy on the 70, but at the same time, if where are we here? Get the mind waking up. So we can buy on the low here, and like because the extension's in wave 3 here, that means wave 5 here will be roughly the same length as wave 1. So it may not come into here, but we can buy in this particular space, and we can expect the market to move back up and test 72. Now it can fail from here and then move down, and then we need to look at all of this as wave 1 and 2 to here and 3 to here. So we could really only turn like bullish in a very solid way if we had support on top of group 1, which would be 73 here. Okay, so when we look at some of the other banks, whichever one comes up first, ANZ or Westpac. Okay, here's ANZ here. So with ANZ here, we'll also looking at no, yeah, I'd have to put that there, wouldn't I? I'm still looking at this as wave 4 here, and it can drop from here. As I mentioned before, that we would turn on this particular bank. The 28 is really important, as you can see. It was support here, and it hasn't really acted as resistance here just yet. We can see that it was strong here, and we can see that been diminishing here. What we can do is just pop the volume on here. Let's just have a little look here on this. So we can see that the movement up here has been on lower volume, so that's divergent, so you'd see that in indicators. We can see that these 2 last bars here have had a lot of volume in it, but these 2 bars here, they haven't got any range in them like these guys, you know what I mean? So they're very small, so that means that that yes, there has been buyers coming in, but also too sellers have been coming in as well. So what we really need to see here to be bullish here is we need to see, we need to see a clear high here somewhere, right? So once we've got a high here and the market folds back, this high here, that will be our reference point, then we can move in long from that point. But we don't have that yet. So I would rather be on the selling side here, and this is likely to be 5 waves up here, so we can expect this to move back anyway. Let's just have a look at WBC, because Bank of Queensland, that's here on a 4-hour chart, I can see that this bounce, we're short in this market, and I stayed short in it because I can see that this little move here is in 3 waves, so we must take out the low here, and then so when we take out the low here, it may give us 5 waves down here, and it will come back and retest it. So I'm going to hold it for the retest, because if it fails here, then we'll look at further down point here. But if it comes back up here and down here and then establishes some support here, then I'll set a stop loss there somewhere, and we'll move out of it. But I want to see if we can, I wanted to see if I could survive the bounce and get to the other side of it here. So let's just have a look at Westpac while we're here. So Westpac 2, we said the same thing too last week or this week, I don't know where it was, that we'd still need to see the same thing here, because this is just, when the market's moving down through something, it'll come off here, bounce, move through, come back, retest it, and then fail if that's part of the trend. So that's basically what it's done here. It's come down, bounced off here, come through, tried to retest it here, but this pattern was still in play here. So it's come back down, hit the 28, really important number for this sort of stuff, back up to here. So it can fail from here. So this is, this is where we can look at it. But my point today is that we're not going to go long unless we have that reference point above the level here. That's so critical. It's simple, but it works. Okay, so that's what we need here, that reference, and we don't have it yet. This market could go either way here. So I'll just need to leave that for the time being. Yes, so I just want to bring in, rather than looking at BHP and so on, this is copper here, and with copper here I can see that straight away from this little pattern here that we've got up, little up for 1 here, so we're going to be moving up here for copper. This move down through here is also corrective as well, so I'm assuming that we'll take out the top here for copper. I don't need to show you oil or gold here at this stage. Well, gold might be okay too because we've got some gold stocks here. I was hoping that that would be moving off the 1300 area here and then start moving up to the 1500 here. But at worst case scenario, we'll have one more move here and then we'll be sort of looking at this here, but we can move straight up from here as well. So in this case here, the number, if you're in gold stocks, then this number, I know it's a little way up here, that 1330 area here, that's group 1, isn't it? That's the top of group 1. So if that becomes support, then we can, get the shovel and start piling into the gold stocks more at this stage. I know that some of them moved off really well, but I didn't want to go into them until we'd finished this sort of correction here. So we're either finished it or coming to the end. It just depends if you count this spike in here. If you count this spike in here as wave 1 and 2 here, then this can have one more move down. If we don't include the spike, then this is completed here and we can move up from here. But that 1330 is the line there. I will look at BHP here because we are long in it. The important thing here is that this is 30 and then we've got group 1 here. So major level, then minor level 1, 2 and 3 here. So the question is do we take profit, some profit at this point here? Do we take some profit here, or do we just wait it out and see if we get support on 33? That's the question here, because if we get support on 33, and it may take a while to do it, but if we do get support on 33, then we know that the trend has got further to go up here. Okay, so that's one thing that we're looking at here. So if you're in this trade here, it's certainly okay to take money at 33 and wait. Leave some skin in the game because we're in a trend. We don't know if the banking sector has changed to the upside yet. I still see some of the banks moving down, but we don't have. We can't call the banks in as a positive move just yet. There's still work to be done in that area there. So, and we can see that the ASX200 is moving to the upside, and that's been done by resources, but also by the banks over the last wee while with their rally as well. All right, sorry to waffle on so much. I should have been a bit more succinct, but a bit of a late night, and getting the old brain working is just another task at our age. Alrighty, cheers.